down below, and here you can see what we want our graph to look like. When we're looking at data and analytics here on the website, this is exactly what we want to see. We want to see that we started out at a relatively slow time. We examined the model, we got familiar with the model, so of course our time got cut, and then little by little we were able to add these efficiency gains. What did we do here? Well, we started out with kind of what we originally knew on this first run, then we added some keyboard shortcuts, then we re-examined some of our workflows, then we added in some new tools like that corner rectangle tool that we weren't using at first. You know, we continued to refine our workflows. Hey, what's up everybody? TooTallToby here, and today we're going to try to get faster at 3D modeling using FreeCAD. Now, the way that we're going to do this is we're going to time ourselves creating this model right here, and we're going to implement some new FreeCAD keyboard shortcuts and change some settings to help speed along our 3D modeling process. So if that all sounds good to you, be sure to hit the like button, and let's get into it here. You can see that I'm looking at the CAD challenge dashboard for this very first challenge. Now, this is a challenge that we could do totally for free without even signing up for an account. But now we're looking at a view where I've signed up for a free account at TooTallToby.com. So I'm using the username Toby up here in the corner, and I'm in a totally free account at TooTallToby.com. And we can see here that when we finish creating a model, we get this CAD challenge dashboard with our data and analytics. And so far, we've created this model one time, and our time was 12 minutes and 47 seconds. So we're going to try to create this model again using basically what we already know, but maybe skipping some of the explanation that we did during the tutorial to see if we can do this thing a little faster. So I'm going to click try again here, and I'm going to say go. So the question here is, what is the mass of this model in ABS? Or we're using the material ABS. What is the mass of this model in grams? And if you haven't seen the app before, if you come down here and you type in the incorrect answer, it tells you that the clock is still running. So let's move this clock over here just kind of to the side of the screen. And let's get into FreeCAD here. I'm just using the out-of-the-box settings here in FreeCAD, and let's see how long it takes us to model up this part. So we'll create a new parametric part here. I'm going to go to my XY plane. I'm going to choose Sketch, Create Sketch. And once I choose Sketch, Create Sketch here, I'm going to go to the rectangle command. So here's the rectangle command. I'm going to choose the option for center rectangle. I'm going to single click here at the origin, move my mouse, let go of my mouse, type in 55, enter, 30, enter. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Let's exit that sketch or leave sketch. Let's choose the pad command to bring this thing up to the desired height. I'm going to come down here into this box, and I'm going to click in this box and type in 7, and then I'm going to click OK. There's the height of that box. Now I'm going to jump into my fillet command here. I'm going to go to create a fillet here. I'll pick this edge, I'll pick this edge, I'll pick this edge, and then I'll go to rotate the view a little bit here, like so. And I always feel like zooming goes the wrong way for me. I'm used to zooming with the mouse going the other way. So pick this edge here, and then we're going to type in the radius there of 7 and enter. Yes, that finishes it. And then we'll press 0 for isometric. I always want to press 7 because that's what I'm used to in my other CAD systems. And then I'm going to go here to thickness. And for thickness here, I'm going to type in 1.6, and then I'm going to click on this face here. Whoops, let me do select, click this face here, and OK. And there we go. There is our model. And now we're going to go here to model and right click on the body, say material. We're going to go down through this library here and find our ABS. We're going to say ABS, generic ABS, close. And then with the body still selected, we're going to go macro, macros, and center of mass FC macro, and execute. And there we go. Our mass is coming out at 0.0041 kg or 4.1 grams. So we'll come over here to our tool, the app, and we'll type in here 4.1 and enter. And oh yeah, 2 minutes and 27 seconds. I say that's a pretty big improvement over our original time of 12 minutes, whatever our original time was. So you can see here now, if we go into the, it's called data and analytics, if we go into data and analytics here, we can see that our data and analytics are showing us that faster time. So here was the original time, the 12 minutes, 47 seconds. Here's the new time. So you can see that we're getting this curve to go down. And ideally, what we want to do is we want to use that try again function over and over again and keep improving. You know, we're gonna see more data points here, and we're gonna add in our keyboard shortcuts, and we're gonna add in some more workflows and kind of try to refine our workflow to keep getting faster and faster. Now, what is the point of doing this? Is the point just to get faster at creating this model? No, really the point is to kind of work out the order in which you do certain clicks, to try to experiment with some different keyboard shortcuts, to try to experiment with different tools in the software. Like, is it better if I make the fillet at the sketch level, or is it better if I make the fillet at the feature level? These are all things you can do with the app if you're able to use the try again function. Now, one note on that try again function is that the practice models library is available for everyone, but you have limited access here to the number of challenges you can do. We have over 200 challenges in the library, but you can see you can filter this by free. And usually we have 10 to 15 free models in there. We kind of cycle through which ones are free and which ones are blocked by the premium paywall. But the other thing that's part of premium is that try again function. So you'll notice here, if I go into completed on this first challenge, that try again is actually not available. You have to unlock premium to use the try again function. So the question is, well, then how am I using try again in this video? And the answer is, we always put one or two models up top here in the featured challenges. And in the featured challenges, you get all of the functionality of premium. So users with a free account can experience all the capabilities of premium, as long as the model is up here in this kind of gray block. And usually we have one or two models up here. Again, we're regularly cycling this so that everyone can at least experiment and test out and benefit from the overall functionality of the app. But if you really like this functionality, then you can consider upgrading to that premium membership. So you can see here that this model is going to basically remain up here in the featured models indefinitely. It's kind of like our welcome model to the platform. So you're going to be able to use this try again on this model here to try and get faster and faster. So anything that's up here in this featured challenge, you can try again on. So you can see here, I can go into this one that is completed, and now try again is available for this very first one. Now, all the things that I showed in that first section of the video were basically covered here in this tutorial. It's a little bit of a longer tutorial. I think it's like 15 minutes. We talk about how to get in and use FreeCAD, create the model for that part, and even export it to be 3D printed. But now we're trying to really refine our workflow, and some of the comments that I read in that tutorial video said things like, you should implement some keyboard shortcuts that'll definitely make your workflow faster. So let's take a minute here and try to implement some of those keyboard shortcuts in FreeCAD. And the way that we do that in FreeCAD is we go to this menu up at the top of the screen that says Tools, and then we go to Customize. And so let's think through kind of what the workflow is for this model. So we started out by creating, Wow. Before I even get into my keyboard shortcuts, let me just address this issue here of the mouse, because as I'm zooming, I feel like I'm zooming the wrong way. So let's go into Edit, Preferences, and then once we go into Edit Preferences, we can go in here to Display Navigation. And in display navigation, there's an option down here for invert mouse. So display navigation, then down here towards the bottom, invert zoom, excuse me. So I'm going to use that option, invert zoom. I'm going to hit OK. And now, oh yeah, that is what I'm used to. That is what I like. So that definitely is going to help me save time, especially when I'm actually in there modeling real world parts. So now let's talk about some of our keyboard shortcuts. So one of the first things that we do in 3D CAD is we pick a plane and then we choose to create a new sketch. Like if I wanted to create a sketch here on this bottom face, I would go to the command sketch, create sketch. Well, that's a lot of extra mouse movement, a lot of extra clicking. I think that's a great candidate for a keyboard shortcut. So we're going to go here to Tools, Customize, and then once we go to Tools, Customize, we can go here onto this first tab, Keyboard, and then we can search for Sketch. So we type in here sketch, and here it is, create sketch. So I'm going to choose to create a new sketch here. And I think what I'll use for my keyboard shortcut here will be Shift S. That's the same keyboard shortcut that I use in Onshape. Very familiar with Onshape. So I think I'm going to use that here in FreeCAD as well, Shift S. So I'm going to say assign and close. And so now I can click on this face here. I can press Shift S And oh yeah, it worked. We're right there in sketch mode. So I'll create a rectangle here, and now I'm going to try to exit that sketch. So let's try Shift S again, and nothing. It didn't do it. So let's see here. So we've got sketch, create sketch, and then we've also got, oh, here we go. We've got leave sketch. So sketch, leave sketch, or usually I hit this icon here, leave sketch. So maybe we can go in here to tools, customize, and then we can search for leave sketch. Oh, there we go, leave sketch. So now we could create a new shortcut for leave sketch, and that way, once we're done sketching, we can quickly get out of sketch mode. But the thing is, what I really want to do is I really want to just use the same keyboard shortcut for both. So let me see if that'll work. Maybe FreeCAD is smart enough. It'll just let me do that. So new keyboard shortcut here, Shift S. And so we can see here that Shift S is currently assigned to Part Design New Sketch, right? We just did that. Create Sketch. We just did that. So let's assign it here as well. And oh yeah, look at that. So you've got your shortcut priority list, which one is going to kick in first. And so I think that, you know, logically it probably makes sense for New Sketch to be first and leave sketch to be second, but from some experimentation, I don't think it really matters, at least not that I've noticed. If you know if it matters, you know, which one comes first, let me know down in the comments. But for this particular combination, I don't think it really matters. So I'm gonna have, I'm just gonna put the create sketch first and the leave sketch second here. I'm gonna say close, and I did that, by the way, by clicking on that keyboard shortcut and clicking this up and down button here. So I'm just gonna click on the close button here. Now I've created a rectangle. Now let's try Shift S, and oh yeah, there we go. We got ourselves right back out to part modeling mode, to part design mode. That is awesome. So now one of the next things that we do pretty regularly is we take that sketch and we turn it into a solid. And so we do that using the pad command. A lot of times I think of this as more of like an extrude command. So I think I'm going to assign this to X for extrude. So tools, customize, and now we're going to come down here through this list and we're going to customize that one with, let's just search for it here, pad. Here we go, pad. And let's add the X key to that one and assign. And oh yeah, now we got pad assigned to X. So here we go, that rectangle is selected and X. And there we go, we can turn that into a solid. And so what I do when I'm creating a solid here is I come down here into this box and then I kind of slide over that and then I type in 15 and then I go back to my mouse and I move up here and I say okay. But the thing is, if you're learning these shortcuts and you're trying to learn how to save some time, what you should be looking out for is what starts out as being highlighted when you begin a command. So what I mean by that is I'm going to pick this face here, Shift S, begin a new sketch. I'm going to choose to create a rectangle here. So create a, circle. So create a circle here. I'm going to choose Shift S again to exit that sketch. Now I'm going to press X. And you'll notice that when I jump into the pad command that the depth of the extrusion is already highlighted. So I don't have to take my mouse and move my mouse over to that number. It's already highlighted. It's ready to be overwritten. And looking out for these types of things can be very helpful when you're working in FreeCAD. So instead of making this, moving my mouse over there, I'm just going to type in 15. And then in a lot of CAD systems, if you press enter, that will double as clicking OK. So I'm going to type 15, enter. And oh yeah, that worked great. That definitely is a great workflow for me to remember. I mean, let's see what happens if we do that with a cut instead of with an extrude. So I'm going to press Control Z for undo. I'm going to click on that sketch so that it's highlighted. And then I'm going to choose this icon here to do a pocket or to do a cut. So you see here, I go into the pocket, same thing. So 2 millimeters, enter, done. So now if we kind of examine that entire workflow, it might look something like this. Pick this face, Shift S to begin a sketch, circle, click a circle here, click a circle here, Shift S to exit the sketch, and now I could jump into cut or pocket and then just immediately type in 4 millimeters, enter, and done. And now I've got that nice 4 millimeter pocket there from that sketch. So learning kind of what starts out as highlighted is definitely going to help you with your workflows and definitely going to help you cut down on some time. So now that we've got those workflows implemented, let's give this a try in FreeCAD. Let's give it a try here with the clock. Let's see if we were able to improve our time at all. So we're going to we want to, we're doing these tests. We want to always start at the same place, kind of go through the same mechanics of the workflow. But of course, we can change our use of keyboard shortcuts to speed up. So let's click this try again button here, and let's move this over like so that we can see the clock. Whoops, I'll just move it over like this. So we can see the clock, but so that I can still see see the drawing on kind of over on my second screen. And here we go, and go. So what is the mass of this part in grams? We're going to say parametric part here. We're going to go to our model tree here. We're going to pick our plane. So now XY. Now we can just press Shift S to begin a new sketch. Now we can begin the rectangle command or the center rectangle command. We're going to click here on the origin, move our mouse, 55, enter, 30, enter, and now Shift S to exit that sketch, and now X to extrude or to pad, and now the depth of the pad is highlighted, so we can just type in that depth right away. We don't have to like take our mouse and move our mouse around. So 7, enter. And now we can jump into the fillet command. So here's the fillet command, and we're going to fillet using this edge, this edge, this edge, and let's rotate the view around. Oh yeah, that's nice. And this edge here, and then we're going to give that a radius of 7, enter, or sorry, 8, enter. And now let's get back to isometric. So I'll press 7 and, oh wait, no, it's 0. I got to remember to change that one, 0. And then let's get this thing to fit. So I'll press F for fit. Oh no, it's something different way. It's VF, I think. VF. Okay, it's not coming to fit there. All right, well, whatever. It's not going to fit. Let's go here to view, and we'll go, I'll just move it into place. All right, and then now we're going to go to our thickness command here. And then for our thickness command, we're going to type in our thickness here, 1.6. Whoops, 1.6. And then we're going to pick on this face here and OK. And, oh, wait. Oh, wow. Okay, hold on. That's not right either. I clicked OK. It didn't add the thickness. I wonder if it hollowed this whole thing out. But you know, regardless of what it didn't do what I wanted it to do. And so that's definitely not going to work for me. You know what? I think I might end up actually canceling this run. I feel like I've made just too many mistakes here as we've been going through, and it's not really going to give me a valid time. So I'm just going to click cancel here. This is something that you'll do sometimes when you're trying to work on your workflows. If if too many mistakes happen, we had that thing happen where it didn't zoom to fit, and then we had that thing happen where the shell didn't really work right or the thickness didn't work right. So let me Control Z here to undo that thickness. Let me try it again. What did I do wrong there? So thickness. And then I typed in 1.6, and then I clicked on this face here, and oh, that's interesting. So if you type in the thickness first, then you pick on the face, it doesn't actually add it to the box. You have to click select and then pick the face. Okay, interesting. So I wonder maybe if that workflow would be a little bit better if I did thickness, pick the face, and then come over here and type in 1.6. So okay, that's interesting. That's good to know. And these are the kinds of workflows that you learn as you are trying to run this thing against a clock and kind of experiment with some different workflows. So I'm actually okay with this. I think that's good. That was some good information that we learned there. Kind of recognizing what the order of those selections need to be. I mean, that's a big part of this because that's going to help you in the real world. You know, again, you're not just practicing this for the sake of speed modeling on the website. You're practicing this so that in the real world, when you use a thickness, you can remember, oh, it's probably better if I pick the faces first and then go over and input the wall thickness. So this is good. This is good stuff. All right, let's try this again. Close this one. Actually, maybe I'll do one more thing just to help myself here. I'm going to go customize. So it's called view, and then it's called zoom, or let's see here, view, standard views, fit all. So it's set to VF. I think I'm going to try and just set that to F. So tools, customize. I'm going to go here to, I'll just call this fit. There we go, fit to all. And let me get rid of that VF. So the current shortcut is VF. I'm going to say clear so that shortcut goes away. And then I'm going to just change that to F. And I'm going to say assign. Okay, and close. And so what that'll do for me is when I zoom out, if I press F, see, it brings the model right back onto the, kind of into the center of the screen for me there. I like that. And then my standard views are keyboard shortcut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that I want to add 7 into that list there as well for isometric. So tools, customize, and then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to type in ISO, and here's isometric, and it's currently set to 0. So maybe I'll clear that. I click this button here for clear that one, and then I'll assign that one to 7. And this is just personal preference. You can make them whatever you want. in my other CAD program, 7 is always isometric, or Shift 7 or Control 7. So I'll just make 7 isometric here, assign, and close, and now I can press 7, and there we go. And then if it's zoomed out, I can press F. Oh yeah, I like this. This is going to definitely help me with my navigation, and that's going to, ultimately help me with my speed. So let's close this. All right, let's try this again now. We learned some good stuff there. So we're going to say reveal drawing and go. So what is the mass of this part? We're going to assign ABS for our material. So here we go. We're going to go in here to our XY plane, Shift S. It's good to kind of practice these over and over again. You get used to them. Do the center rectangle, single click, move our mouse, 55, enter, 30, enter. And then we're going to Shift S again to exit sketch. And then we can right away X to extrude. The depth is already highlighted there, which is very nice. So we're going to press 7, enter. Okay, and we're going to jump into a fillet command, fillet, and then we're going to pick these 1, 2, 3, and then we'll rotate this around to the other side there, 4, and that's going to be a radius of 8, enter. All right, and then we can press 7 to go back to isometric. We can press F if we want to zoom to fit. Yes, I like these shortcuts. This is feeling good. And so now we're going to go to our thickness option. And for our thickness option, we're going to remember to pick the face first. So don't come over here first. Even though it's highlighted, that would be nice, but we're going to pick the face first, and then we'll come over here, and then we can double click or triple click, and then 1.6, enter. All right, that's nice. At least we know now that enter also finishes that command. So now we're going to go over here to the model tree, right click on the body, go to material. And then once we go in here to material, we're going to go down here through this menu. And in this menu here, we're going to choose, let's choose ABS and close. And then we're going to go macro, and we're going to go in here to macros. And then we're going to pick the center of mass macro and execute. And we're coming up with a mass here of 0.0041 or 4.1 grams. So 4.1, enter. Yes, we did it. Nice. Oh, I'm liking how this is going. I think there's still a couple of places we can shave off a few more seconds here, but 151 is pretty good. Under 2 minutes, I like that. That's feeling a lot better than, the original time of 12 minutes and 47 seconds. So now we can see our chart is kind of going in the direction we wanted. This was our original tutorial. This was basically doing the same thing as the tutorial, but not explaining every step along the way, or at least not in as much detail. And this is now that we've implemented some of those keyboard shortcuts. So I think there's a couple of more places we could implement some time-saving shortcuts and tips and tricks. One of the things that I read in the comments was with the rectangle command, we could keyboard shortcut that as well. And maybe also with the center of mass, maybe we could keyboard shortcut that as well. Now that is a macro, so that one might be a little more tricky, but let's see what we can do here. So I'm going to pick this face here, Shift S to begin a sketch, and then let's go into Tools, Customize, and we're going to create a customization here for rectangle. So for rectangle here, we'll say create a centered rectangle. And for the centered rectangle here, it currently has the keyboard shortcut of G, V. So maybe what I'll do is I'll get rid of that. So I'll say clear. And then I'm going to type in the new keyboard shortcut of R. R for rectangle. Now, this one's kind of interesting because this time we've got another restraint here. So the restrain arc radius diameter, it's a relationship, a sketch relationship essentially, and that tool is currently assigned to the letter R. So just like we did with the sketching command, enter sketch, exit sketch, we could leave both of these assigned here so that R is also the keyboard shortcut for rectangle. But the other thing that we could do is we could search for this command here. So we could search for, I'll just type in RADDIA, constrain arc radius or diameter. So you can see here that this one has the keyboard shortcut R, and then we could say clear. So now the only one that has the keyboard shortcut R assigned to it is our rectangle, our center rectangle. So that should make it a little bit easier for us to get in there and assign that center rectangle command. And then the other one that we want to add maybe is the keyboard shortcut for macro. Now for this one, I think what I'm going to do is instead of getting fancy and linking directly to that macro, I'm just going to create a keyboard shortcut that gets us to this menu, macro, macros. So I'll just have a keyboard shortcut. I'll make it the letter M. M, and that'll bring us into this menu. And that way I can just click here on this and then choose execute, and then we should be good to go. In fact, I wonder if I can double click there. Oh yeah, we can double click there. I didn't know you could do that. That is good to know. So all I got to do now is press the letter M and then double click there, and then I should be good to bring up my mask, and that should definitely save me time. So let's set that up. Tools, customize. And once we go in here to tools customize, we're going to go to, I'll just look up here, macro. So here we go, macros. And then I'm going to assign the letter M to that and assign. Okay, good. So now I'm in sketch mode. Let's press the letter R. That takes us into rectangle, 20 by 30. And then we'll press Shift S to exit sketch, X to extrude, bring that out to 10 millimeters, enter. Then we'll click on that body here in the tree. And then we'll press M to bring up our macros, and then double click here on center of mass. Yes, I like this. I'm really liking this. I think this is going to really help us cut down our time. So let's go through this thing again. Let's see if we can get this to under, let's see if we can get it to under 90 seconds. I think we could probably do it. So we're going to say here, discard, and let's go back in here to the app, and we're going to use the try again function here. Try again. And let's move the clock over here. Here we go. And go. So what is the mass of this part in grams? We're going to go in here to FreeCAD, launch a new part, expand this tree here, go to our first sketching plane, Shift S to begin a sketch, R to launch the rectangle command, single click here on the origin, move our mouse, and we're going to type in 55, enter, and 30, enter, Shift S to exit sketch, X to extrude or to launch the pad command, and we're going to make that 7 millimeters, enter, and then we're going to launch the fillet command here, and we're going to pick these 1, 2, 3, and 4 edges here. And we're going to assign a radius to those edges of 8, enter, and then we can press 7 to go back to an isometric view. And now we're going to choose the thickness command here. So thickness, once we choose thickness here, we're going to assign that wall thickness, or no, we're going to pick the face first. Then we're going to come over here and assign that wall thickness. So I did like a triple click there, 1.6, and enter. And now we can go back to the model here, right click on the body and go to material. We can go down through this menu here and we can pick the material of ABS and close. And now with the body selected, we'll press M to bring up that list of macros. And then we can go center of mass, double click, and 0.00041. So 4.1 grams, and yeah, 80 seconds. Let's go. I like it. I like it. What do you think? You think we could get, I don't know if this is maybe pressing it a little bit, but you think we could get under a minute on this challenge? I think if we do under a minute, what we'll do is we'll add this run to the speed runs that you can watch. You can watch other people speed running this thing as well. So 4.1 grams, and we did that one in 1 minute and 20 seconds. Let's go. I like it. I like it. And so here you can see that underneath this model, we've got these tutorials. We talked about the FreeCAD tutorial earlier. We got tutorials in different categories, and these tutorials can be submitted by members of the community as well. But what you'll see a lot of are what are called the speed runs, where people from the community are getting in here and they're recording themselves modeling this thing as quickly as possible. So you can see here 43 seconds, 31 seconds, 5.991 seconds. Wow, that is a fast run. If you guys want to watch that video, you can click on this link here and it'll take you to the video of MCGA. Make CATIA great again, using CATIA to model that thing in 5.99 seconds. I don't think we're going to be getting that fast, but I do think we could probably get this thing done in under a minute. So let's give this thing a try here. If once I'm done creating this speed run, if I go in here to data and analytics, I can find that run. So hopefully we're going to have another one here that's going to be under a minute, and then I can add the YouTube video here. So I can post a YouTube video of that sub 60-second run, and then I can just drop it right in here, and that way everybody can see how fast I am in FreeCAD. So let's give this thing a try. There was one more comment that I got in the FreeCAD from the FreeCAD community about this model, and it's not only about this model, but there was a second model that I created that was a sheet metal model where the FreeCAD community said the same thing. And what they said was, when you get into sketch mode, so let's Shift S here to get into sketch mode, there's another rectangle type here called rounded corner rectangle or rounded rectangle. And so with this one, you can see here, I can still choose center point rectangle, but then when I go to drop this rectangle, I can type in the width, so 55, enter, I can type in the height. So the height here is going to be 30, enter. And then I can type in the corner radius. So the corner radius here is going to be 8, enter. And now I've taken away one of those steps, that step of creating the fillets when I get out to feature mode. So I thought this was a great suggestion, and I like these kinds of things because it's not only applicable on this model, but it's applicable on many models. Like, this is a really cool tool. I haven't seen this tool in other CAD systems. I haven't seen this in SolidWorks. I haven't seen it in Onshape. You know, I'm not as familiar with Fusion, but I haven't seen it in Fusion either. So this is something that I thought was really novel in FreeCAD, and definitely something that I want to try to work into this workflow. In fact, maybe we could create a shortcut for that as well. So if we go here to Tools Customize, and then once we go into Tools Customize here, we go to Rect. There's another one here for Create Rounded Rectangle. So Create Rounded Rectangle. It's currently assigned to GO. I think I'll get rid of that. So I'll say Clear, and then I'm going to assign this to, we've already got R for Rectangle. Let's assign this one to Shift R. So Shift R is like my special rectangle. So Shift R, assign, and there we go. There's going to be our rounded rectangle. I think when we launch this command, we're probably still going to have to come over here and manually change this to be a center option instead of a corner option. But that being said, I still think that's going to be faster than having to add those fillets at the feature level. So I don't know. We don't know for sure. Let's test it. But if we can do this one and maybe get this under a minute, then we'll know for sure. So let's close this thing and let's give this another try. Now that we've got those extra, bonus shortcut in there. I really like that M for mass, and then just double clicking on that FC mass, FC info macro. Or I guess it's just FC center or mass macro. All right, here we go. I always get nervous before these runs where I'm trying to, get my time down to a certain amount. So we're going to move this over here in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in grams? So we're going to go here to parametric part. We're going to expand this menu here, pick the starting plane, Shift S to begin a sketch, Shift R to use our new super secret power move, the rectangle with fillets built in, single click the origin, move our mouse, 55, enter, 30, enter, and 8, enter. Oh yeah, it looks good. Shift S to exit that sketch, X to begin the extrude command, and that's going to go up to a height of 7, enter. And now we can skip the fillet command and jump right to the thickness command, pick this face. This is going to be triple click here, 1.6, enter. And now we can go into our model here, right click on the body, go to material, and we're going to go all the way down to the bottom here, and we're going to choose ABS and close. And then with the body selected, M, and double click here on center of mass, 0.0041, so 4.1. Yeah. Oh yeah, we did it in under a minute. Wow. That was pretty darn fast there. So 58 seconds using FreeCAD. Wow. I think 58 seconds for that model is pretty impressive, but you know what? I think if we take a sip of our water here, just kind of calm our nerves a little bit and try this thing again, I think we could do it even faster. Let's go. This is the fun part about trying to do these speed models. So I think there was just a couple of moves there I could have done just a little bit faster. So let's use the try again function here on the app, and we move this over here. Let's kind of reset our FreeCAD environment, and I think we are ready to go here. Here we go, everybody. FreeCAD speed modeling in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in grams? So we'll start out here in a new parametric part. We're going to click on our starting plane, Shift S to begin our new sketch, and then Shift R to create our rectangle that automatically has filleted corners. So we'll single click here on the origin. The width is 55, the height is 30, and those corners are 8 millimeters. Shift S to exit that sketch, X to jump into our extrude or pad command, 7, enter for the height of that. And now we can jump right into our thickness command, pick this face here, and then we're going to triple click here in this box, 1.6, enter. That gives us our geometry. Now we just got to assign the material. So we go in here to our material, all the way down to the bottom here, ABS and close. And finally, with that body selected, we press M and double click here on the mass, 0.0041 kilograms or 4.1 grams. Yes, 51 seconds. Wow, that is pretty darn fast. That is pretty darn fast. But guys, even though I think 51 seconds is pretty fast, I think I could maybe even go faster. So I'm going to do this one more time for all of you. I hope that you guys are enjoying this video. If you are, be sure to hit the like button and let's give this thing one more speed run. So we're going to submit that time and we're going to get in here and do try again. And here we go. Let's move the clock over here. Let's reset our FreeCAD environment here. So get rid of this center of mass, close the model, and here we go. Can we get sub 50 seconds? I think we can. In 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in grams? So we'll start out here on our starting plane. Shift S to begin a new sketch. Shift R to jump into that corner rectangle with rounded corners. We're going to use the center point option. 55, enter. 30, enter. 8, enter. Shift S to exit sketch, X to extrude. We're going to bring that up to 7 millimeters. We're going to jump into our thickness command, pick that face, and then double click here, 1.6 millimeters. Now we're going to jump over here to our material for this body. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom of the list, say that's ABS and close. And with that body selected, we're going to jump into our center of mass, 0.0041 or 4.1 grams. Sub 40 seconds. We cut it by almost 12 seconds, guys. I think that is as fast as it's going to go here for today's FreeCAD tutorial. I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making this video. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to leave me some comments down below. And here you can see what we want our graph to look like. When we're looking at data and analytics here on the website, this is exactly what we want to see. We want to see that we started out at a relatively slow time. We examined the model. We got familiar with the model. So of course our time got cut. And then little by little, we were able to add these efficiency gains. What did we do here? Well, we started out with kind of what we originally knew on this first run. Then we added some keyboard shortcuts. Then we re-examined some of our workflows. Then we added in some new tools like that corner rectangle tool that we weren't using at first. You know, we continued to refine our workflows. We realized you could do things like changing the order in which you select certain faces, or maybe you can double click on that macro. You don't have to click on it and then choose execute. All these little things that you're going to use over and over again throughout your CAD career, throughout your FreeCAD experience, are going to save you time and are going to help you have a better experience in the world of 3D CAD. And so we can see here, we were then able to kind of set ourselves some goal. Can we do it in under a minute? Can we do it in under 50 seconds? We absolutely can. In fact, we were able to get that time down to just 39 seconds. You can see here the history of all your runs, so you can kind of examine how that got faster and faster over time. And that is the try again function at TooTallToby.com. And that is your speed modeling tutorial on FreeCAD. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, hit the like button, share this video with other FreeCAD enthusiasts, and I'll see you in the next TooTallToby FreeCAD video.